Hey everybody, it's Todd with Sweet Tea Guitars. Thanks for clicking on my video and welcome to my life. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to come and hang out with me and watch me build my entry into the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. This video, we're going to get some sanding. We're going to get this body finished. We're going to put this guitar together. We got a lot of work to get done, so let's get rolling. I've got some 80 grit sandpaper wrapped around a little piece of maple, and I'm just going to sand this putty not all the way flush, because I want to get this finer than 80 grit. I've got a piece of 180 wrapped around a paint paddle. I'm going to do that same thing with this 180. All right, I think we're pretty much good on the 180 scratches. I'm going to call that good at 80 grit. I'm going to switch over to this interface pad straight from 80 to 220. My initial thinking was to get involved in this contest to put me up against a deadline. I figured that was the best way for me to learn. So I've packed as much complication into this guitar as I felt like I needed to for a first time build. I have to keep reminding myself, this is the first guitar that I have ever built from scratch. I think most of you guys will agree with me on this. You got to touch this thing, man. You have to touch it. You have to feel it. A CNC machine lacks the subtle nuance that the human hand or the human eye does. Yes, it can be perfect, but what is perfect really when we're talking about guitar? Things that are born from inspiration and artistic expression. It's not necessarily about perfect. It's about art and about the ability to feel and do the things that you want to do to this instrument at the spur of a moment. You can't build the human equation into a guitar that is never touched by human hands during the build process. So, hope you guys are cool with that. I'm going to keep on kicking by hands. I need to express myself, man. You know what I mean? That's what this is. It can be gnarly and beautiful at the same time. So you guys get what I'm saying. You know what I mean. I appreciate you guys sticking around, watching me, listening to all my rhetoric. I formed some lifelong friendships already just from these 4 or 5 months that I've been on YouTube because of the Great Guitar Build-Off. That is what it's all about right there. It's not about winning this competition. It's about what you can do for somebody else to help them out if they want to get into this. It's good for you. It's good for your soul. It's good for the world. If you're passionate about this and want to get better, you will. So I know my next build will be better than this one. You know, I won't make the same mistakes I made on this build. I'm not saying I won't make any, but I will learn from those as well. Those processes that have to be done on every single build, I want for those things to become somewhat second nature to me, so my mind can be free to be openly creative. I'm going to punch a couple of holes, or punch a couple of dimples in the bottom of my neck pocket. We'll take a backer board over to the drill press. I'm going to drill through so I can make sure that my screw that holds my neck on, this is a M6. They're 30 millimeters long. These M6, by the way, are stainless. I've got threaded metal inserts. These are carbon steel. These metal inserts are going in my neck heel. I want to drill the recesses for these heads right here in the back of my neck pocket. So right here. And we're going to take and punch a couple of dimples down inside our neck pocket down in here, basically where we want our neck to mount, somewhere right in here. And I'm going to hit it twice so I make sure I know where I'm at. Right here. And right now we're just drilling the pilot holes. I've got those holes drilled right there. You can still see the punch where I changed my mind. I've got a 1/2 inch Forstner bit right here. I've measured the heads of these stainless bolts with my caliper, and I said 13 millimeters, but they actually come in at 12.42. The Forstner bit comes in at 12.52. All right, that should work for this one. And I don't want to go too deep. So you guys can see what's going on there. You know, those points that the Forstner bit left in the bottom of those holes give me a guide point to run my 6 or a 6.5 millimeter drill bit through, so I can make the holes for these bolts right here. Then what we'll do is take our center punch, dry fit our neck, go in through those holes with our center punch, mark the back of our neck heel, drill where the inserts go in, and get those inserts installed. I was saying in my last video, I had a couple of places that the router got away from me on, mainly in this back of this cavity right here. But it's fixed. I mean, you guys can see that. The putty's not that attractive. We're going in there with some easy slide graphite impregnated paint, and that'll act as our shielding paint. And I was going to black those cavities out anyway, so I'm not that worried about the fact that I had to use a little putty in there. So that 6 millimeter drill bit should get us where we need to be to have our pass through in the back of our neck pocket for these bolts. Let's get these holes drilled. There we go. I'm actually quite happy with how this went. I'll say it one more time. It's a great time to be alive. I love it. Nice. I plan on attaching every bolt-on neck I make this way. All right, guys, so I got all 3 of my bolts in. They're not sticking up above the surface of the body. That's what I was after. They're holding the neck in there nice and firm. No issues. This build for me at this point has turned into kind of a regardless of what happens, figure out how to fix it and move along. You know, and I've already made that, you know, that little deal with myself. If I run into an issue that I can't fix, be willing to admit that to myself and to you guys. You know, don't let pride be the thing that stands in the way of a learning process, really, because that's what I would be doing. We can turn our attentions at this point back to the body. We've done some dry fitting on the neck. Everything seems to be lining up like it should. These are Bourne's push-pull pots. They are audio taper of 500 Ks. A 7 millimeter drill bit should be perfect for this. I'm going to drill 2 pilot holes by hand. figure out where I want this volume knob at. So let's pan down here. So right there, that should be just about perfect. Let me get our 5-way selector switch. This is a brand new Fender branded switch. I would normally use a CTS, but I got a really good deal on these Fender branded switches from Amazon. 41 millimeters are where our screw hole placements need to be. So while we're at it, this is as good a time as any. Check that out. Steve McElhenney has come through once again for me. I changed my mind about putting those shiny chrome knobs on this particular build and wanted to go with the satin knobs. Steve, thank you once again, my friend. MaximumGuitarWorks.com. Check that out. Steve is absolutely a fanatic when it comes to detail. I want the edge of my knob to be 25 millimeters from the edge of the other knob. I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole. Then we'll figure out where we want to put the 5-way switch. And I've got a plan for cutting this slit. And we'll just have to figure out if my plan's going to work or not. Very little tear out. That is one of the advantages of using a brad point drill bit. Very little tear out. There are my control placements, and I like that. I'm fine with that. Now I want to get the Incra, so we're following some type of formula here. Draw a line this way. Now I've got a right angle to where my tone and my volume are riding. I have got some spiral cut jeweler saw blades that I think will probably work for this. And what I will do is drill my first hole, then we will measure it again. What I should be able to do is drill myself a hole at each end of that is large enough for me to fit this through. I will thread that up through the hole, and then we'll cut the slot from side to side. I'm going to drill another hole on the other end. Here we go. You absolutely want to let the saw do the work. And slot cut. I decided that we should probably go ahead and drill our wire path. I do not want to forget to do that. And while I got it on my mind, we should just go ahead and do it. You can see down in there, those wound up pretty perfect down in the bottom of the pickup cavity. We need to take and drill from the humbucker cavity into the control cavity. We need a control cavity to the spring cavity. Well, that wasn't too bad. I've got my control knobs cut in here. I know that's, you guys may think that's weird, but I've got my reasons why I put that 5-way switch right there. I thought what we would do real quick is drill the hole for our output jack. So this is a pure tone multi-contact output jack in a thick chrome plated metal jack plate that I got off Amazon. These jacks are absolutely great. The one thing I will say that you may want to do, you may want to hit that just real quick with a piece of fine sandpaper or a file. I've read some people say that they've had issues with the plating on these for some reason or another, causing issues with the signal. I don't see why that would be an issue, but if it is an issue, all you got to do is scuff that up with a little bit of sandpaper. You should be fine. I've got a 3/4 Forstner bit in my hand drill. I've already punched myself a hole. I measured halfway between the two. And there we go. Hole in the side. Now, there's my jack plate. There are the screws that hold the side plate, the jack plate in. So let's go ahead and get these two holes drilled in here. That's one less thing I'll have to worry about later. All right, there we go, guys. Good to go. I downloaded this design. I thought it was pretty cool. I used it on the Padauk Canary Neck, and I'm gonna use it on this one too. I'm gonna take a little spray adhesive, just a little, just enough to hold it in place so I can cut around the outside perimeter. And I want to get this thing placed like I want it as well. So I am going to be moving this thing all over the place. I've got good light, got my glasses on. And I just want to cut this out. I'll just make a little V right there. We'll clean that up. And now it's just a question of being really careful and getting this deep enough to accept the pearl powder and epoxy that I plan on putting inside this thing. So there we are, pretty much completed. I got to clean it up a little bit, but it's pretty much ready to accept that epoxy and pearl. Again, with these little generic dragon rasp, and I'll pan down and let you guys check this out. And I just want to knock that corner off with this tool, and then we'll switch over to something a little more delicate. Just want to work that shape into my existing profile because I'm really happy with the profile on the neck. The first fret, I'm at 20.5 millimeters, which is right about where I wanted to be. The 12th fret, I'm at 21.5 millimeters, which is exactly where I wanted to be. I'm using the soft side with some 80 grit. I'm going to get rid of all those file marks. Let's switch over to 180. I'm going to keep this same sanding block, and we're on the soft side again. Good at 180 grit. We're going to go to 320. I started with this side looking like this side, and you can see now that I'm starting to fade that black away. Then I just hit it, the whole thing, with a Scotch-Brite very gently because I don't want to take the edge off. I'm happy with that. I think I'll be even more happy with it once I get this pearl laid. Probably 1/4 gram of pearl powder. I'm just going to suck up some of this into this syringe. We're just going to fill this cavity up. Blurple pearl. Now we're going to do the same thing we did a minute ago. The excess epoxy off of the dot. I will switch over to a finer grit. Those new Mojo Tone pickups, they made it. Thank you so much to all the guys at Mojo Tone for rushing those through for me. I really appreciate it, you guys. The build has changed a little bit. We got our wires crossed up. They sent me a chrome instead of the double blackout humbucker that I ordered. My tremolo's polished stainless. I would never, you know, complain to Mojo Tone about it. Those guys have been really super cool to me, and they rushed this through for me. But on the finish, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about for just a minute. I went from putting stain around the outside edge, planning to do the silver leaf on the bevel. I could not get that worked out. The capillary action of the grain of the wood kept pulling in the glue and getting the silver leaf over onto the face of the body. I tried that 4 times and wound up sanding all the stain back off of the guitar. Then I went to paint. I have actually sprayed that burst 3 times. So that guitar has been finished 7 times at this point. I wanted to let you guys know how I wound up coming to the decision to spray it, the burst from a rattle can and the orange pearl candy middle. That's what I should have done to begin with. It's beautiful. It turned out really killer. So I've sprayed a flash coat, 2 medium wet coats on that body 3 times. Let it cure overnight. Came back the next day, sanded it flat, flash coat of clear, 2 medium wet coats. Then on that final time, flat sanded it, could still see a few little faint grain lines through the finish. And I was not planning on spraying any more clear on it, but I did it anyway. So that guitar's been through that process 4 times, not 3. I flat sanded it last night all the way up to like 800 grit. Got it as flat as I felt safe getting it without sanding through my finish. Sprayed 3 coats, a flash coat and 3 medium wet coats on that body last night. I let each one flash 15 minutes in between coats. Came back down this morning. It was looking really good. I knew that I was going to be able to get it sanded pretty much perfectly flat this time without seeing any grain. So that's what happened. I just wanted to give you guys a recap of what all went on, so I don't have to spend, I've got footage of all this, but I didn't want you guys to watch me finish and strip finish 7 times on this guitar. I would rather tell you about it and you can use your imagination. I'm concentrating on the finish that I wound up using on the guitar. You run up against issues sometimes that you have to figure out how you're going to make it through that. This guitar has been an absolute killer learning process for me, and I'm really happy with the way the body turned out. It looks really great for a first guitar. PPE, Ben Crow's even a fan of it, and he's awesome. I'm going to put my mask on. I've got some, what I am referring to as lava flow orange pearl candy. I made this color, so you're not going to find it anywhere. And that's pretty much what I was after. My body's sanded completely. There's no finish left on it, front or back. I'm still taped up. I've blown it all off good. I wiped it down. We're gonna navigate this water a little bit differently this time. So I'm gonna spray the orange first. You do not want to spray directly at the side, because what's gonna happen is your overspray is gonna wrap around, get all over this orange. Some of it will dry and will be able to be wiped away with a tack cloth. You have to be really careful when you're using a tack cloth on wood that does not have sealer on it, because it will pick the threads out of the tack rag. My suggestion to you is to spray the black at an angle to the body so I catch the side and the burst. So I'm gonna put my mask on. I'm good and blended, and you guys can watch this come to life. I'm excited about it. Lava orange pearl candy. Here we go, guys. Final time. Test the nozzle. And you can see this candy is very light. I mixed it a little bit weaker this time because I want to build this color in layers. Really happy with that color. I hope everybody likes it. Let's let this flash off for just a few minutes. Since I barely coated it, we don't need to let it flash too long, so I'm not even going to turn the camera off yet. I'm going to overlap my fan pattern by about 50%. All right, I'm going to give her one more go up and down, and I think 2 coats is probably going to do this. Now looking at that makes me not even want to spray black on it. What do you guys think? Never mind. I don't want to change my mind again midstream. Spray one more mist coat just to pop that pearl. You can't even tell it's got pearl in it right now. We won't see that until the clear gets put on. You can see that walnut through there. I really like that. All right. We're going to do one flash coat. We want to get the sides too. Here's what I'm talking about, getting this at an angle. Just let that flash off for about, we'll watch it go satin. When it stops looking glossy, we'll be good to add another coat. If you get to the point where you can start seeing the blush, which is where it starts to develop kind of a milky or rainbow kind of look to it, you need to stop, let that dry off, let the solvents flash out of it. That's what's happening when that goes on. It may be a temperature issue, you may be putting down too much paint at one time, it may be too humid, but blushing 95% of the time will fix itself if you will stop and allow it to flash. If I can see the orange can see me. You know what I mean? If you turn it far enough to where you see the orange on the front, the paint's going to get on that too. Let's get this burst sprayed on here. I want to be super careful this time. I really do. I'm just going to spritz this on here. I'm not going to go crazy with this paint. There we go. As soon as this flashes, I'm going to clear. The back should be flashed by now, absolutely. It's been at least 20 minutes or so, maybe even 30. On this 2K clear in the spray can, if you can mash that valve down right there, you have to pop it on the table or whatever. That breaks the membrane. And now we can mix the two components together. Always test your nozzle. Always wear a mask, guys. I cannot stress that enough. And I want to spray this on here while that other clear is still a little bit tacky. All right, we're going to let that flash for 15 minutes. And we might as well get us a flash coat sprayed on the front of this thing while we're sitting here waiting on the back to flash up. Straight from paint to clear. I'm not messing around. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Todd, this is Sweet Tea Guitars. This video is documenting the finish of my entry into the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. Getting involved in the Great Guitar Build-Off, I can't even tell you what that's done for me. I mean, I feel great about this every day. I'm already a pretty passionate person, but this has put my passion into overdrive. I absolutely love doing this. What we're doing right now, I've got 3 coats of 2K urethane clear on this body. And you can see it's nice and shiny, but you can also see, I can see the grain through the clear. It is Wednesday, 7 days until the end of the Great Guitar Build-Off. We gotta roll. I'm burning the candle at both ends these days. Needless to say, I'm sure a lot of guys are. Trying to make sure I can get finished on time. And I'm still confident that I'm going to be able to do it. I've got some 600 grit sandpaper I've been soaking in this little bowl of water. We're just going to make sure our surface is nice and wet. You do not want to dry sand anything at this point. We'll dry this body off. I'll wipe it down with some wax and grease remover. And then we'll spray a couple more coats of clear on it. We'll do this same thing one more time. I'm up against it. I know a lot of guys are. I hope everybody makes it, and I wish everybody the best of luck. I really do. You know, I'm a newbie, but I absolutely do not expect to win or place in this thing at all. I just want to finish on time. I just want to be a part of this community. And I will also, by the way, on July the 1st, next Thursday, I will submit the donations that I have gotten from everybody. Make a charitable donation and let those guys know that we as a community of builders care. I've had like, you know, 6 or 7 guys have donated. I did it because I wanted to. I did it because I want for us as builders to make a difference in as many people's lives as we can, really. Here's where we are. It looks pretty dang good. I'm going to start with 600 grit. This is wet dry. I just want to stay on 600 grit till I don't see any shiny spots left. All right, I think we're good at 600. We won't start really polishing till we get up into that 1200, 1500 range. We'll be buffing before you know it. I haven't even finished my first cup of coffee yet. All right, I'm convinced we're good to go to 2000. We'll do the back first, as usual. Yeah, we're really starting to come to life here, guys. I'm happy. All right, fresh piece of 2000, and let's get the money side done. We'll get the flat part of the top done first. All right, we'll wipe all that down. One guitar body sanded to 2000 grit. The yellow is a medium cut. The black is the polish. Now what I'm using for compound is the best compound on the planet Earth. It's called Ferekla Super Fast Compound. This is made in the UK. I like for my body to be wet. I'm going to take my t-shirt rag. We'll do the back first just to get a feel for everything. I'm going to wipe this down really good. Medium cutting pad. We're going to wet it down really good. And I'm going to look like the Gorton's fisherman wearing this thing. Drizzle some of this over the surface. You don't need much. And then we'll, without the machine on, we'll rub this over the surface. Just like so. That'll keep from slinging it all off once we do start this. All right. Let's go. It's on low. Let's roll. There's my body. This wound up really better than I had hoped, honestly. That color is so sweet. All right, guys, so I've spent the past couple hours, I didn't think you guys would want to sit there and watch me sand these pickup cavities, but what I realized is when I was taking the tape out of these, the clear was wanting to pull up a little bit. Well, what I decided to do to cure that problem, I got a couple of scratches on the body I've slipped with a file. I'm going to take some 2000 grit sandpaper, go back over those and buff those scratches out. But here's the big thing. I don't know how well you can see that, but I've chamfered the edges around the pickup cavities and it's created kind of a border. It almost looks like binding around the pickup cavity. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to leave it that way. Easy Slide graphite based coating. Texas Toast uses this. It's $17.99 a quart. In the South, you can absolutely get this stuff in quarts, gallons, and spray cans at Tractor Supply. You can buff it and it takes on this metallic kind of a sheen. We're going to find out. So I'm just going to get after this. I've got some paper taped down on my body just in case I drip some. I don't want it, you know, even though I'm still going to sand this. And we'll go down inside these cavities once I get a couple of coats of this put on. And we'll buff this stuff and see what happens. I know Spike the Frugal Fixer, hey Spike, I think he finished his whole guitar with this stuff. So let's just get some paint put in here. And I'm just going to coat the spring cavity first. I'm going to let that dry. I only got 4 days left, so the bugs are getting bad. I need to let this this Easy Slide paint dry overnight anyway. I'll catch you guys in the morning. Peace, everybody. Really appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm loving this. I'm under the gun here, but we're getting done. Everything's going to be all right. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Sunday, June the 27th. This coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time, US, is the deadline for the Great Guitar Build-Off. Here's what we're going to do. I am going to get these scratches out. I had a few scratches in my body and I had to get this that shielding paint. I didn't realize how hard that would be to get off, but it was pretty hard to get off. Now I'm going to buff this body back to a gloss. I've had a long think about this last night. My video is edited up through last night. And you guys will have to forgive me. I'm having a terrible hair day, so I wore a bandana. I'm going to put this guitar together. I'm going to assemble this guitar, but I'm not going to connect anything. I'm going to show you guys what it's going to look like, and then the demo will come in my final 15-minute video. I have got to get this final build video posted. In order to get that to happen, we got to roll. I had a couple of scratches I made getting in too big of a hurry last night with a file. All right, guys, there's my body in all its glory. It's got a couple of little scratches and dings on it that I'm not going to be able to get rid of in time. All right, guys, so here we go. I went ahead and installed the 2 tremolo studs. I thought I had the camera recording, but I obviously hit the picture button instead of the video. We're going to install this tremolo and the neck I'm going to set the pickups down inside the cavity so you guys can get a taste of what this thing's going to look like. That gives me 2 afternoons to get this set up, wired, and playing, film my video, and release it to the world by 7 o'clock Wednesday evening. The goal is to finish this guitar. Bed, sleep will have to wait. I've already drilled the 2 holes and installed the spring claw. So this is my entry into the Great Guitar Build-Off. I have got a Wilkinson Floyd Rose tremolo that is, you know, of lesser quality than the Tremoline. This guitar is not routed for a standard Floyd Rose. It's routed for the Tremoline. I've got a couple of little finish issues on this guitar too that I'm not really happy about. There's a couple of things with the neck that I'm not really happy about. So what I may do, and considering this is my first scratch build ever, I may go ahead, finish this guitar up, let it be my Great Guitar Build-Off entry, strip this guitar completely apart, take the Mojo tones out, the Tremoline system off this guitar, put in the Wilkinson tremolo, put in lesser quality pickups. I've got a locking nut for the tremolo. I've got some different kinds of tuners that I may go ahead and put on this guitar anyway. They're little fishtail tuners, and build myself another guitar for all these parts to go on, because these parts that I've got are so killer. They deserve to be on a guitar that is equally as killer. Now, I may plug this guitar in and it be an absolute monster rock machine. I don't know yet. But there are things about it that I'm not happy with. It's not perfect. I see the seam line up the middle. I love the finish, so don't get me wrong here. I don't dislike this at all. I just feel like I'm more capable now of building a better guitar than what this one's going to be. However, I have learned so many lessons from this thing that this guitar will never leave me. It's my first scratch build, but I don't know that it's going to be worthy in the end of all these killer parts that I've got to go on here. So I may use the Mojo tones, the Tremoline, the hip shots, all that stuff on a different build. We'll see. I'm also going to build a guitar, a 1 pickup, 1 volume knob, probably a Telly style, but I'm going to make it all sweet tea, and I'm going to give it away on my YouTube channel once the Great Guitar Build-Off's over. So you guys stick with me for a while, all right? We got good things coming down the pipe. I've learned a lot of lessons here, so, you know, don't let the fact that this guitar didn't turn out perfectly, don't let that be your judging factor. This is my first guitar ever. I'm going to get good at this. There's no doubt in my mind about it. My next guitar will be better. The next guitar after that will be even better. By the time I've built my 5th guitar, I'm not going to say it'll be perfect, but I will probably be at the level, by the time I build guitar number 5, be at the level to produce the quality that I expect myself to be able to produce. So that's what I'm after, to establish ourselves as a builder who builds something different than what everybody else is doing. That's my goal. And I'm just going to place this in here and show you guys how this mounts. So I've got my studs in here. Now Theodore, I know you're going to gripe at me because I'm not doing this right, but I just want to give everybody a view. Another cool thing about the Tremoline, it does not have holes drilled in here where the springs go. There's actually a cover plate with little slots in it that go over the springs. I'll show you what I mean. They snap down over the back of the tremolo. They fall into place like so. You run the screws back in, and there we go. They only have to be snug. You don't have to torque those down. Now, those springs are not going anywhere. On top of that, that is such a killer design, having the springs not actually go in a hole on the tremolo. That is such a more stable way to mount a spring. So kudos to you, Theodore. That is really cool. Plus, look at that spring claw. That's a piece of machined stainless steel. That's not your little stamped pot metal that come with most of the Floyd Rose style tremolos. Let's put our neck on. All right, other than that big mangling I did across there, I'm gonna show you guys what I did, because it sucks. Other than that big mangling, I think we'll be okay now. I'm having to stop myself from saying, okay, I know I'm going to rebuild this guitar anyway. Just let it be what it's going to be. But that does not mean I want to screw it all up, you know. I can fix that scratch. That's not that big of a problem. There's no possible way I have time to fix all the things I want to fix and finish on time. It's not going to happen. It feels like a good guitar. It's nice and beefy. So I'm going to give you guys a preview of basically what this thing's going to look like with the mojo tones in the cavity. And I've got a terrible case of ADHD, and I don't want to wind up screwing this thing up even worse. But this is going to give you a killer look at what it's going to be. So here we go, guys. There is my build. Great guitar build off 2021. This guitar is called Ferryman, named after the Greek mythological figure that takes you across the river Styx in the afterlife. So there it is. I like it. I think it's badass. And now that I see it with pickups in it and the tremolo on there, I don't know that I care about those scratches anymore. You know, I can get those scratches out. All I need to do, solder these in, mount my locking nut, my tuners, string this thing up and go with it, you know. So I don't have much more to do. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I try and finish this thing. I've made a few errors today. I'm stopping now before I make it worse, and I'm not going to do that. So, you know, now that I see this thing with pickups in it and with the neck bolted on, I don't want to mess this up. You know, I don't want to mess this up anymore. As far as those scratches and stuff that I've got, that one that I made right here, I can fix that. I haven't even cleaned the back cavities yet and polished those up. And obviously you're not seeing this with the knobs on it. Steve McElhenney's knobs are going to look really cool on this. This guitar's not overly heavy. I'm going to say probably about 9 pounds, somewhere in that range. Not super heavy, but by no means a lightweight. And it is made out of a solid hunk of walnut, Padauk, Purple Heart, you know, and it's got a bunch of metal in it. So there we are. All right, everybody, this is Todd with Sweet Tea Guitars. I know this video is a little longer than usual. I appreciate you guys sticking around to watch it all. And remember, until next time, we're all born to die. It's the living in between those two things that make your life count. Peace and love.